My first career position was in Asheville, North Carolina, and I moved to Asheville when I was in my early 20s, and my first position there was with a chamber of commerce, which is like a business league. And Asheville, North Carolina is in the western part of the state, and it sits in the Great Smoky Mountains, and it's an absolutely beautiful location. And one of the things that I was asked to do when I was there was Asheville, as beautiful of a city it is, surrounded by the mountains, had an inferiority complex as a community. And you would just see this beautiful community, and you couldn't imagine why in the world a city that was so beautiful, surrounded by these Blue Ridge Mountains and Great Smoky Mountains and Pisgah National Forest, sitting on a plateau, had an inferiority complex. And it seemed at that time in the 70s that many of the communities that it was competing with for business, especially for tourism, had discovered air conditioning. So people did not have to go to the mountains any longer to cool off in the summer months, and they found themselves competing with Atlanta and Miami and other state of Florida destinations. So it was kind of interesting to me. So my challenge was to position this beautiful mountain city of Asheville in a national marketplace. So in order to do that, I of course had to do my homework and find out what was unique about Asheville other than its physical location. And it turned out that it had a very rich history of Scottish and English settlers who settled in the mountains, and they had brought their traditions with them of the dancing, the folk music and the folk dancing, and there were fiddlers, which are, of course, violinists who just sort of pick at the fiddle, and guitar players and banjo and mandolin players, and they had, again, this wonderful music. And there were artisans who did crafts by hand, whether they were the bowls, making bowls from clay or glass blowing or things like that. And it seemed like there were all of these artisans and this rich talent of music performers and dancers, and it was just sort of swept under the carpet. So I was very fortunate in those early days that I suggested that we get it out and lift up that carpet and sweep off all of that history of that area and package it into a nice package for marketing purposes. And rather than competing with Atlanta and some of the other larger cities, that it should look at its own personality and perhaps position itself against other mountain resort areas in the Colorado mountains or in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, and that was more of its competition. It would never be a huge metropolitan city like a New York City or Washington, D.C. or anything like that. So my thoughts at the time were that everything that was natural and innate to that area was what we should be promoting and packaging. And an interesting thing happened when we did that. It just created a tremendous sense of pride in the community, and all of a sudden this community that had this terrible inferiority complex found itself reborn with a new sense of pride and enthusiasm for who they were. And so that was pretty much my first challenge in Asheville, North Carolina, and it turned out to be one of my very favorite cities. The people there are very warm and accepting, and they had very good business sense about them. And of course, they were very thrifty, being with that Scottish heritage that they had. And so they were just wonderful people to work with and to get to know. And again, they just felt so the pride that they felt from this approach and just looking at who they are and being proud of who they are and their heritage. And it turned out to be a magnificent success and a marketing story for business purposes.